In this video, we are going to talk about message market fit, product market fit, whatever it might be, and kind of some of the reasons or some of the issues that I see with companies and where they go wrong, and really kind of, I guess, how they, in my opinion at least, how they're thinking wrong and they're kind of wasting absolutely shitloads of money. So let's go for a nice blue pen here with a wide stroke. Maybe too wide, but whatever. So this is Mr. Startup Founder. And the Startup Founder has an idea. This is a light bulb, in case you were not sure. There you go. They have an idea, and they're thinking, I hope you don't hear the hammering, but if you do, not a lot I can do about that. They have an idea, and they think, oh, wow, first of all, I need to get some investment to build my idea. So what do? They go away and they speak to, this is Startup Founders in case you're unfamiliar. $2 million startup. Fuck, they're not Startup Founders. These are 2 million VCs that the Startup Founder is talking to, or angel investors, 2 million little dots. And they're all saying, first of all, what the fuck? What the fuck is it, right? Because this guy's just got an idea and he's come to them with this thing and they're like, I don't know what this fucking thing is. So let's first and foremost think of some ways that, let's call this guy John. Let's think about how John can solve this problem. Because right now he doesn't have anything. John just has an idea in his head. And so far his pitch is not working. So the first thing that John can do is to build a sales argument or a sales letter. And if you're unfamiliar, what that is essentially like you do a ton of research into your target market, buyer personas, who struggles with the problem, who you're solving the problem for, why you're solving the problem, why it's valuable to them, everything about these people, so on and so forth. And you collaborate it into a huge, big 125-page thesis, essentially around like, why the fuck do these people need it? Why should they buy it? And this should resonate both with investors. It should resonate with buyers alike. This should be a really easy way to understand. So this would be a really good first step for Mr. John to go and build. This would, of course, somewhat help the investors, where he could say, cool, look, I've built this thing. Like, I have at least now a way that I can share with you my idea that makes sense. But when John goes back to these investors, they all say, I don't believe you. Nobody wants it. Nobody cares. Why would they care about this bullshit thing? Blah, blah, blah. Again, millions and millions of fucking investors. And they all say no. So John then needs to think, well, maybe I need to start selling it. And then John's kind of at a fork in the road. He's like, well, one, what are my options? Maybe I build a sales team. Maybe two, I do the sales, but I have no time. Sales team has no experience and also has no money. John thinks, well, how can I reach many markets and get feedback instantly? Well, maybe I can do ads. But again, he has no money, he has no time, and he has no experience. So then John thinks, well, what else can I do? How can I possibly validate these ideas and test why companies might want my solution, might want my thing, without spending a fucking shitload of money and without really needing to know what to do? And one day, John is on YouTube and finds a video about cold email. And John thinks, I have been sent a million cold emails before, and they're fucking terrible. They're annoying, they're scammy. This would never work. This could never be the thing that I need for my business. Until John keeps thinking, and John realizes that cold email is cheap to run. You can have full visibility of tests. I'm getting really good at writing with a mouse. Full visibility of tests. You can have direct, imagine this is direct contact. So like, for example, if John had an assumption that he knew CEOs of X type of company, whatever it might be, would need his solution, or he thinks they might need part of his solution, he can target just those people. And really, there's no other way to do that. Like, yeah, okay, you can do that through cold calls, but it's slow, takes a ton of time. And if you're doing, say, 1,000 cold calls to try and figure out your message market fit, like that's incredibly inefficient, because 1,000 cold calls, first of all, is going to take you a fucking shitload of time. And B, those 1,000 cold calls, like the likelihood of you hitting the right messaging on the first 1,000 is almost zero. And really, you need to be hitting that kind of like at least 500,000 mark to kind of get an understanding of that, right? So cold email is extremely, extremely good for rapidly testing things without spending much money. So this means that John can now begin testing. Let's say he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. John has 5 different ideas for like markets and segments that he thinks his tool would be useful for. He's not even built the thing. He spent no money, nothing. All he's done is signed up for a Smart Lead account. He's bought 50 inboxes, 25 domains. That's really all there is to it. And now John needs us to start thinking about like, how can he run these tests to his market? Like, okay, maybe he doesn't know anything about cold email copywriting, but it doesn't really matter. Like, it's not too bad, because the most important thing for John is he starts getting some feedback. And if you're sending, of course, email copywriting is really important, and targeting and all that stuff. But if you're solving a really huge problem, then like those things are less important. Like, if I knew 100% that let's say, for example, founders of software development companies between 20 and 50 employees, like all had this huge problem, and I wrote the most dog shit fucking boring script in the world, but it nailed it. Like, this is the problem they all have and they have no idea how to fix it. You're probably going to get a few yeses, right? So it's not like, of course, yes, if we're sending emails, we want to make sure the copywriting is as good as possible. But John is just learning. John is going to learn very quickly. So John now has a vessel in which he can begin just blasting emails into the stratosphere, and he can begin finding out resonance from his tool, from his product, before he's even launched it, before he's even done anything. So let's now fast forward 3 months' time. John has sent, let's say, 20,000 emails. And he's tested all of these different things, right? And John realizes that John had this idea for this big, crazy software tool that had all these bells and whistles and did all this fucking crazy stuff. But then through the cold emails, John kept testing and kept testing. And John's product, eventually, he realized, actually looked a bit more like this. There were just 3 features that these people cared about. So John actually saved a ton of time, and should be very thankful that he didn't get investment, because otherwise he would have gone away and built all this crazy shit. And now he knows that his market needs this. And why is that really cool? Because John now can go and he can update his sales letter or his sales argument, whatever you want to call it. John can now then go to investors and say, hey, like I have proven demand for this offer. Like here's all these people that have said this is a problem I'm struggling with. There's 600 people and their company valuations are a total of 50 billion. So I think this product is worth blah, 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 whatever it might be. But you see, this has all happened just by John sending emails and testing the market. And now let's look back. Like John sent 20,000 emails. Could John have done this through building a sales team? Well, that would be very silly because John doesn't even have a product yet. And as we said, he has no experience, no money. Could John do the sales himself? Like maybe, yeah, he could have done, but he has no time. And for him to make 20,000 touch points, that would have taken significantly longer. And somebody may have come in and fucking developed the same thing. Who knows? So that's shit. Ads goes without saying, no money, no time, no experience. Terrible. We only want to run ads when we have a strong message that we know for sure resonates with the market, very strong product market fit. So it really leaves one thing. The glorious cold email that people say is a scam, is terrible, you should never do it, blah, 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 even though every company actually does it, just under different mediums. So that has saved John a fucking metric shit ton of time and effort. It's got him his next big funding round. And also, another cool thing is now John has a skill. John has a skill, John has a market, and John has now knowledge. So John now has a skill that he can 50x his output, because all John has to do now is write cold emails. He knows how to do them. He's done the research. He knows the problem. He can now scale this up to his market, because all he needs to do now, he knows automated cold email is just buy more inboxes and source more leads. He's now an expert. He knows everything there is to know. On top of this, John knows the perfect market. So when this is built, John can either like pre-launch this to this market using this skill, or when it's launched, he can then begin selling it to this market with this skill. So like John's a pretty deadly force of one at this point, a very, very deadly force of one. His team are focusing on building the product, and all his job now is managing the product and the investors and building cold email campaigns, of which he could easily just outsource to someone else now that he has the skills and the knowledge. One other final thing that John can now do outside of course, sales, and this is like a really underused way for cold email, but you can actually get investment. I don't know why I felt compelled to write investment, but we'll finish it off. You can get investment through cold email. I won't bore you with going through all the fucking bullshit at the start of like, this is how slow it would be. Like, obviously, if you're sending out singular emails to people, it's going to be slow as fuck. If you're sending out fucking million emails a day, you're probably going to catch a lot more fish. So you're probably thinking, well, yeah, but my normal emails are customized and whatever it might be. If you really think about how your normal emails are customized, I don't know what you might say, like, hi, Fred, saw you invested in X thing, which is similar to our thing. I don't fucking know what you might say. I think you might find this interesting for reasons X, Y, Z. I have no fucking clue. Whatever you would send normally, like we can just build this in Clay. We can build this in Clay. Of course, this is getting now a little bit more advanced for John, but he's learned it once. He can learn this shit again. He can build this in Clay, and he can build a really solid outbound campaign that feels personal, feels direct, and it's conversational. So that then he can just start blasting all the relevant investors as and when he sees fit, which then means John gets more money to build his product. This was what the fuck. Hopefully that makes sense. That would be a fucking fire landing page. But yeah, I hope that makes sense, because I speak to a hell of a lot of startup founders, a lot of people in startups, and even a lot of like high level salespeople in startups, like VP of sales, whatever it might be. And it was really baffling to me, like how so many people are really against cold email, and it's really odd. Like they refuse to use it for things because of like the most benign reasons that make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Um, Yet they'll have teams of like SDRs sending like, in a lot of cases, dog shit emails to companies and paying an absolute fortune. So kind of interesting. Of course, not to disrespect the SDR role. Ton of good SDRs. I just don't think SDRs best foot is forward when you put them on email. I think they're better off on the phone. I think email should always be automated. I don't see any real reason why it's not, unless you're doing some kind of like crazy targeted ABM stuff, in which case, fair enough. Cool. So this was once again, very incoherent video about why startups should be using cold email a bit more, especially when finding product market fit. Super, super good at finding product market fit. Of course, you can use this at any point during the process of your product. Like if you were launching a new feature and you wanted to check people wanted it, use cold email. Whatever it might be, you can use cold email for a hell of a lot of things that people don't usually realize. Cool. Have a wonderful day.